Students, counselors, families, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever it is in the world you are joining us. Thank you so much for joining StriveScan's virtual college exploration program. These STEM days are in partnership with CACHE, which is the College Admissions Collaborative, highlighting engineering and technology. A few housekeeping items before we begin with Boston University's presentation. First and foremost, you're encouraged to ask questions throughout the session via the Q&A button that you see on your screen. When you submit a question, it gets sent to all of our panelists, and they'll work to answer the question during the session and at the conclusion of the session. They may not get to every question in this 45 minutes. So they'll also receive a transcript of all the questions that were submitted. As a reminder, your camera and your microphone are turned off so the panelists cannot see or hear you. So if you do have any questions, make sure to type them in through the Q&A button. This is one of 50 individual information sessions and panel presentations with a STEM focus through this CACHE partnership. And we encourage you to check out the programming through this evening at strivescan.com/virtual/STEM. We also are beginning the Colleges That Change Lives programming on Saturday morning. These are 41 small private liberal arts colleges, and that program can be seen at strivescan.com/virtual/CTCL. When you signed up today, you received a barcode. You do not need that barcode for this virtual event, and we are recording this session and all of the sessions, and those will be made available at strivescan.com/virtual/STEM, the same exact place you went to register. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to our panelists from Boston University.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Zach. Hello to everyone. Welcome. My name is Bodie Wilson. I am an Associate Director of Admissions at Boston University, a member of our Board of Admissions. I'm also an alum. I studied economics at BU, so not particularly what you think of as like STEM focused, but at the very least, there is just so much math in the program. So I guess I have like the M in STEM covered anyway. I'm joined today by Dan Taberski, Assistant Director of Undergraduate Programs in our College of Engineering, and Michelle Sherman, our Director of PreHealth Advising. They will both be telling you a little bit about their respective areas today. I'm also joined by my colleague, Melina Prentakis. You'll see her on the screen as BU Admissions. She is helping out behind the scenes with tech stuff and to answer some of your questions in the Q&A. That reminds me, just to echo what Zach just said, if you do have some questions for me or for our panelists, definitely feel free to enter them in the Q&A at the bottom of the Zoom window. We will leave plenty of time for questions later in the presentation, so you can either save your questions for then or just queue them up now. Today I'm going to start with about a 10-minute summary of what makes BU special for research and study, as well as some more general points, particularly as they concern STEM tracks. I'll then kick things over to Dan and Michelle for their presentations, and then we will take questions as a group. Make sense? Awesome. Now I'm going to prove my technical inability while I share my screen here. Cross my fingers. Excellent. Boston University is a large urban private school teaching and research in nature built on a strong foundation of liberal arts study. We host 16,000 undergraduate students in total from all 50 US states and over 100 countries around the world. Those students are studying from among our 300 different programs housed in our 10 undergraduate schools and colleges, which are arranged geographically along a 1.25 miles of Commonwealth Avenue in Boston. Through the BU Hub, our general education program, students are able to explore a broad array of topics while building skills in fundamental intellectual capacities to help them become better thinkers, scholars, and citizens. While you're likely here today because you're interested in health science, or maybe computer science, or engineering, or our 7-year accelerated medical program, you can absolutely take classes outside of those fields. That academic flexibility is one of the hallmarks of BU's academics, and it absolutely extends to full programs. Fully 75% of our students carry some kind of double program, whether that's a major with a minor or a full double major. As a teaching and research institution, that spirit of discovery fostered by our academic flexibility is on display every single day. Last year, we invested over $550 million in research funding across the university. That research includes products like that run by Professor Wellenius in our School of Public Health. Just earlier this year, looked at Google data to determine policies to best promote social distancing during COVID-19. Or our NEIDL lab, which received nearly $2 million in additional funding for working with live copies of the novel coronavirus all the way back in May. We're actually the only US institution at the time to have live copies for research purposes. Our faculty at the undergraduate level is a pretty impressive group of people, boasting MacArthur Fellows and Fulbright Scholars, members of the Academy of Arts and Sciences, and many others who have received some of their field's highest honors. Even given that fact, they're very accessible to you as students. Our average class size across the university is 27. Student-to-faculty ratio is 10-1. You'll find opportunities to connect with faculty inside the classroom and outside of it at every turn. Now, so far this has been a lot about the work that our students and faculty accomplish, but there is much more about the experience that is uniquely BU. For starters, the campus itself. As I mentioned earlier, we occupy basically a straight line, 1.25 miles along Commonwealth Avenue in Boston. We're about a 10-minute walk from Fenway Park, about 15 minutes by train to the Boston Common downtown. Boston itself is a pretty incredible place to be a student, hosting as it does over 300,000 college students each year. The city is basically tailor-made for you with enough restaurants, parks, concert venues, museums, everything like that to keep you busy during your years with us. I should stress at this point that while we are very much an urban space, we are also a campus. We require all of our students to live on campus during their freshman year, and then we guarantee housing for all 4 years of the undergraduate experience. Urban space like Boston, this is a pretty special benefit. About 3/4 of our students actually take us up on this, living in BU housing for their full time as undergraduate students. This lends us a very close-knit campus feel, which basically informs every aspect of student life. That student life includes our nearly 500 clubs and organizations. That includes sports, D1 at the varsity level, but of course, club and intramurals also available. If anyone is curious, as an aside, I played intramural softball. Our team won one big game in the 2 years that I was on the team, which maybe gives you some indication of my prowess on a softball field. Anyway, Greek life, cultural organizations, these are also options, faith-based groups, not 1, not 2, but 12 a cappella ensembles, and a number of other artistic groups as well. Over 1 million hours of community service pledged to the city of Boston also figure into the ways that our students spend their time. Now, those connections to the city and close-knit campus also open the door to a number of different professional opportunities outside of the classroom. BU offers several programs to encourage innovation and career exploration under our Innovate at BU initiative and our Center for Career Development. US News and World Report ranked us 27th on their most innovative universities list, spurred no doubt by such resources as the Build Lab, which is our on-campus collaboration space and information center, or BU Spark, a computer science and engineering-focused technology incubator and experiential learning lab. Another major avenue toward professional opportunities at the university is internships. 89% of our students complete at least one during their time with us. That firsthand experience that they gain in a professional field directly contributes to high job placement rates among our graduates, with 96% of them in a job or graduate school within 6 months of leaving the university. Internships can be completed on campus, in Boston or around the United States, or internationally as part of one of our study abroad programs. We offer over 80 programs in 30 cities around the world, and BU Study Abroad offers options for virtually all majors to complete internships, take classes, and engage in research in an international setting. It's one of the major ways that our students are able to gain a truly global perspective through their experiences as BU students. Now, that was pretty quick. With all that in mind, I am going to turn things over to Dan Taberski in our College of Engineering to give you a sense of some of the offerings on his side of things.
Awesome. Thanks, Bodie. All right. Hi, guys. As Bodie introduced me, I'm Dan Taberski. I'm the Assistant Director of Undergraduate Programs in the College of Engineering. And I'm going to talk to you about some of the different departments and opportunities that we have at the College of Engineering. If you could bring up my first slide. So at the College of Engineering, we have 3 departments: biomedical engineering, electrical and computer engineering, and mechanical and engineering. And across those 3 departments, we have 4 majors. Advance one more and it'll show you that we have a biomedical engineering major, computer and electrical engineering majors, and then finally mechanical engineering. And then in that mechanical engineering, you can even there is a specific mechanical only concentration in aerospace engineering. Added to these programs, there are a number of concentrations you can do to add some direction or some focus to your studies. All majors can do concentrations in energy technology, manufacturing, nanotech, tech innovation, and a brand new one in the National Academy of Engineering Grand Challenges. All of these, as I say, provide some direction, some focus in your studies, and none of them require any extra coursework. To do one of these concentrations, all of that coursework is just built right into your major, so no extra time to get some focus in some pretty cool areas. And then woven into the entire program is a new initiative that we have in data sciences. We are making sure that all engineers are doing coursework in statistics, in machine learning, and other areas, because this is just where the profession of being an engineer in any facet is headed. So next, I'm going to talk to you guys about the sort of general curriculum for the first 2 years that you are in the College of Engineering. As you can see, kind of on the left side of this chart, every engineer, regardless of major, is going to take 4 semesters of calculus. Everybody's going to do at least a semester of chemistry and 2 semesters of physics. We think that those are all like really important base level courses for all engineers. Now, if you kind of look at the center of the of this chart, you'll see some courses like the Freshman Advising Seminar. Actually, Bodhi, if you move forward, it'll just highlight those. Our Freshman Advising Seminar, which I'm going to talk about in 1 second, but what I want to highlight here is that you'll see that all of our students are going to do courses in circuit. All of our students are going to do courses in mechanics. Everyone's going to take programming. And why this is for a couple of reasons. First of all, we think that as an engineer, you should be able to speak the language that the rest of the engineers are speaking, regardless of what your discipline is. Even if you are not a computer engineer, you need to know some programming. If you're not a mechanical engineer, you need to know some mechanics. The other thing that this provides is that, so I mentioned our 4 majors. A 5th major that you can enter in the College of Engineering is undeclared. We will allow students to come in as undeclared, and then you have your first 2 years to try to figure out what you want your major to be. And so if we build our curriculum in this way, where everybody is taking kind of the same core courses in the first 2 years, it means that you can enter as a biomedical engineer and take a mechanics course, fall in love with it, and become a mechanical engineer, and you haven't missed a beat. You don't have to go all the way back to the beginning and start over. And then I promised I would talk about that Freshman Advising Seminar. It's a really cool class that we offer all freshmen. It is co-taught by a faculty member and an upperclassman student leader. And that faculty member that who's gonna teach your Freshman Advising Seminar is going to be your faculty advisor for 4 years. So on day 1 of your engineering career, you are going to meet the person who's going to be writing letters of recommendation for you, and helping you decide on internships and grad school and all those types of things. And then lastly, on the far right, I'd just like to highlight, we provide room for you to do those general education requirements, those courses that come outside of the College of Engineering, with taking some of the hub electives. We mentioned the VU Hub, as well as college writing. So in our curriculum, we're building ways for you to kind of get off on your engineering career on the right foot, but also kind of build in other components. So that's what I have about engineering, and I will turn the floor over to Michelle.
Thanks, Dan. My name is Michelle Sherman. I'm the Director of PreHealth Advising, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about what that actually means. PreHealth at BU is not a major. You can choose any major you want. So obviously, if you're here today, I would assume that you have some interest in the STEM field. But if you ever change your mind and you decided you want to major in something else like psychology or history, that's okay too. You really can major in whatever you want, and we would encourage you to do that. Pre-health at BU also does not necessarily just mean pre-med, although the majority of our students are interested in pre-med. We also advise students who are interested in other health professions like listed here: dentistry, veterinary medicine, physician assistant, nursing, podiatry, pharmacy, almost anything that you can think of. We're here to help guide students throughout their time. A couple key things about the prerequisites are that for the health profession schools are that they can differ greatly, but you can complete these prerequisites in context of any major. So I think that that's always really good. It gives you a lot of flexibility. If you want to major in engineering but minor in psychology, you can still fulfill the pre-health curriculum in context of any major that you choose. The most popular prerequisites for these professions are biology, some combination of biology, chemistry, physics, and math, but they can differ depending on what it is you like to pursue. But regardless of what that is, our advisors in our office are available to help you figure out if a health profession is a career that you are interested in pursuing and how to go about accomplishing that. So next slide, please. Thank you. So how can our office be helpful to students? We provide very personalized and comprehensive advising. As I mentioned, the prerequisites can differ and students' interests change quite often, and we are here to help you along the way. We are available to students even as incoming freshmen. We're very much involved in the summer orientation process, so we're here to help you figure out how can I complete courses in my first semester that are pre-health oriented that will help me explore my interest, and then also make sure that you're satisfying your major or minor requirements. We also will help you by providing guidance about how to develop your overall portfolio outside of the classroom. So like Bodhi and Dan had mentioned, there's a lot of opportunities at Boston University, especially being in a large city. And with, I feel like, hundreds of hospitals right up the street from our campus, we can help you really explore through, hands-on learning and experiential learning. Is, one of these careers a right fit for me? And if so, which one? And you have access to a lot of great opportunities being in Boston, and as well as research opportunities too, which were mentioned before. So we can help you think about how to build your overall portfolio, not only in the classroom and finishing those prerequisites, but how to take advantage of everything that Boston and Boston University can offer you. And other things listed here: student organizations. We have hundreds of those on campus. If there's not something that's there already, I know that you can pretty much create your own student organization. So lots of opportunities there. I also mentioned research, clinical experiences, studying abroad was already mentioned. That is a great opportunity if you are interested in doing that, and we encourage that for pre-health students. I think there's a myth that pre-health students can't study abroad, and it is a myth. We have quite a few of our pre-health students study abroad. You can do something that is more curriculum-based, like our Madrid Science Abroad program, which is geared towards students in the first semester of their sophomore year. But you could also do something that maybe is a language immersion program or cultural immersion or internship-based. So there's a lot of great opportunities in Boston, but also abroad as well. And then we can also help you throughout the application process, which is can be complicated, and how to think about things like how to be networking and building relationships with your faculty members who may be writing you letters of recommendation. We'll help you think about the standardized tests like the medical college admissions tests and things like that, how to prepare for all of that, how to be reflecting about your experiences as you go, which is really critical to help you really think about why am I doing the things that I'm doing and how are they helping me think about who I am and what I want to accomplish. So that reflection is critical, but we can really help you with all these things. And we meet with students on a regular basis. So we're happy to talk to you about this and help you figure out which path is right for you. So the last thing I just kind of want to touch base about are the two early assurance programs that we have at Boston University. So we have the 7-year liberal arts medical education program, better known as SMED, because it's a lot easier to say. That is available to incoming freshmen. It is an accelerated program, so you complete 3 years of your undergraduate years at the undergraduate campus, and then assuming you meet all the program requirements, you matriculate to the medical school for a fourth, in your 4th year. So then after you complete your 1st year of medical school, you will have earned your undergraduate diploma. That is a set degree major, medical science, that is only available to students in this program. It is one of the most competitive undergraduate programs, I believe, at Boston University. We have upwards, I would I would say, of about 1,900 to 1,000 applications each year, and we'll interview roughly, no, in the most recent years, we usually interview no more than 80 students. So it is very competitive, and I know you can check out the admissions website if you want to find out more information about the other requirements for that program. The other program that is really cool is the Modular Medical and Dental Integrated Curriculum. This is an early assurance program, and students can select the track. So you can either apply to our medical school for early assurance, or you can apply to our dental school. And this is only available to current BU students. So you would apply traditionally, you could apply early decision if you wanted to. This is a really great program for anyone who maybe wants to take a little bit more time to explore and take advantage of all 4 years as an undergrad. And maybe you really want to major in something like engineering. And so the M-Medic program is an opportunity for you to be able to do that. So you would apply in your sophomore year to this program, but you can apply from any school or college. You can apply from any major as long as you have the prerequisites that are required. And as I mentioned, it's early assurance, but not accelerated. So it's 4 years of undergrad and 4 years at the medical or dental school. So some of the selection factors that I just wanted to point out are, again, the academic prerequisites. Each program sort of has their own, but they ultimately will have some combination of biology and chemistry. The SMED program has additional prerequisites that you need to take in high school, but those are also listed on the admissions website, so you can take a look at that. And then the other factors are really more about what you're doing outside the classroom. Of course, your academic performance is important, especially in the SMED program. It's an extremely rigorous program for our undergraduate students, a very challenging curriculum in the first year especially. And so they want to make sure that you are well prepared, and that's why having a strong performance is really important. And then same thing for the MEDIC program, but really it's what you're doing outside the classroom, because the students and applicants to these programs always have really strong academic performance. So that's sort of a given. It's more about how have you demonstrated to us that you've been thoughtful about exploring your interest? And then how have your activities and experiences really proven that you have done that, and that you know for sure that you are interested in pursuing medicine or dental medicine. So, you know, and they're looking at some of these other competencies that any admissions committee would be looking for, like, you know, personal qualities such as, you know, maturity, leadership, compassion, demonstrating that you're a caring, compassionate individual by being involved in the community on campus and things like that. And I'm happy to answer any questions you have about either of these programs.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle and Dan, for your insights into these parts of the university of interest to, I think, probably our guests here today. I am going to now stop sharing my screen so that you can just kind of take a look at us, your panel, as we start to move into some Q&A. So we've got probably, I would say, almost about 20 minutes here. So we should be able to get to a fair number of your questions before we have to wrap things up. You know, as a reminder, again, if you do want to ask us any questions, just that little like Q&A button down at the bottom of the Zoom window, just type your question in there, and we will hopefully be able to answer it with our panel. So the very first thing that I'm going to do, just because Michelle kind of finished up talking about those early assurance programs, I always get a million follow-up questions about the 7-year medical program. So I'm going to answer a couple of them with like a kind of an eye towards some of the other questions that I've seen come up in the Q&A so far, which is just to say, so the question that I got specifically here, is there a separate application for the 7-year program? No. So you're when you apply to BU, you do the common application or the coalition application. You can do either one. We don't have a preference. In that application, you're going to select the major that you're interested in. If you're interested in applying for this accelerated medical program, then you would pick like accelerated programs and then the 7-year program. It's kind of the major that you're picking, even though it's like not technically a major. We will consider your application for that program and that program only. When you apply to the university, your admission to your program of application is your application to the university. So those two things are one and the same. When you so if you are considered for the 7-year program, but we're not able to offer you admission to it, we won't then roll your application somewhere else to offer you admission to a different program. We're just going to consider you for the 7-year one. As Michelle said, I just want to reiterate, strong academic performance is one of the major sort of prerequisites. That's what really gets you through to the finalist stage of this. But then all of the finalists that we're considering are going to be very, very strong academically. From there, we're going to be looking at the experience that you have in the medical field, as well as just impressions, input from the interviews that you'll do on campus. Those finalists interview with professors in our College of Arts and Sciences and in our School of Medicine. And those interviewing professors really have a lot of input to kind of almost the final say into who that class of students is going to be. Also, as Michelle mentioned, hugely competitive program, 1,000 applications each year for a class of about 20 to 25. So really, really competitive, but ultimately such a cool program, very rewarding. Michelle, I wonder if you can we talked about the fact that you're going to be looking at students' kind of experiences outside of the classroom. Are there examples that you can think of, things that have stood out to you over the years that that students have participated in that really have made them good fits for the program?
Are you just talking about PreHealth in general, or the 7-year program specifically?
The question, I guess, is specifically for SMED, but if you did want to roll that out to general PreHealth, that's awesome.
Yeah, so for the SMED program, I mean, really the most critical thing for a successful application other than the academics is that clinical experience. If you do not have clinical experience, it would be extremely rare for you to be invited for interview. And I then often get the follow-up question, what is clinical experience and what does that mean? So clinical experience does not equal a hospital-related experience. Clinical is much more broad than that. Clinical experience could be in a hospital, absolutely, but it could be you shadowing a physician or a healthcare provider for SMED, of course, a physician, in a private practice. It could be volunteering at a community health center. It could be going on a service trip. It could be being an EMT or a certified nursing assistant. I mean, clinical experience really is very broad. For the incoming students and applicants to the SMED program, it might look a little different than if you were a traditional applicant to medical school, since the types of opportunities that might be available to you will be very different as a high school student. But oftentimes shadowing is something that we've seen a lot of students do. But there's really no right clinical experience. It's more that you are getting the experience to help you think about, why do I want to do this and what is it that I want to accomplish? Everybody applying to medical school says they like science and that they want to help people, but that's really not enough. They want to know why, what is motivating you, and what is it that you want to accomplish? What sets you apart from the thousands of other applicants that they have? I think in particular for the SMED program, something to keep in mind as well is sort of the mission and the values of our medical school. They are very social justice oriented. They are very interested in individuals who want to help address some of the social determinants of care, access to care. They are the largest safety net hospital in New England. Their motto is exceptional care without exception. They will treat patients regardless of their ability to pay. So I think that those are some really important things to think about when you're applying to this program. It's not just that you're applying to be a physician, it's that you're also applying to our medical school. So a successful applicant will have clinical experiences or social community service kinds of experiences combined that will demonstrate that they have those interests. You can't just say you want to do these things, you have to prove it. And you prove it through experiences like clinical and like your social community service. So there's not this silver bullet, this particular thing is going to make you a better applicant. It's more what you do to show that you are, but then also how you articulate yourself in the application itself. How are these experiences together working to help inform you about who you are and what you want to accomplish? So hopefully that was helpful.
That's awesome. Extremely helpful. Yeah, thank you. And Dan, I actually want to pitch you a similar question. So the College of Engineering doesn't have as fine an emphasis on these kind of experiential pieces as part of the application. But I wonder if there are things that students can do, whether they are experiences or programs or any sort of preparation that will help them as students in the College of Engineering.
Yeah, so as I say, we don't have a requirement that you have done experiential engineering prior to coming. There's lots of people who come who have never done quote unquote engineering before. But we also have lots of people who are getting involved in robotics programs like First Robotics. We have people who are doing programming work in high school, people who are involved in drone clubs, rocketry, automotive organizations. And we have a lot of these things for you to continue on in them once you get to BU. But people who are doing those sort of things with their high school free time and can talk about those kinds of things in their essays and whatnot. And also just doing that sort of stuff early on lets you know, is this the type of stuff that you really want to be doing? You want to be hands-on, working in labs, building and taking things apart and stuff like that. That's what your coursework here is going to be hands-on work. This is not just a theoretical degree. We have lots of on campus. We have a number of time maker spaces where students are going in and building and making products and making things because they're engineers and that's what engineers do. So I would say if you can do some of that in high school as well. Find out if you love this.
So this is actually a fabulous segue to another question that's come through the Q&A box here. Dan, how can undergraduate students become involved in engineering research at BU? When can they start along that process?
We have students who are doing research early on in their academic careers. Maybe not first semester of your freshman year, because we want you to get in here and find out where the laundry machines and the bathrooms are located before we get you into a professional's lab. But we have people who are in their end of their freshman year, beginning of their sophomore year, who are in labs. Departments hold things like research fairs where their faculty will come down and talk about what kind of research is going on and what kind of help they're looking for. We have programs that incentivize professors to hire undergraduates, take a chance on a young undergraduate. Programs that will incentivize the payment of undergraduates for doing research. I know many students who do research and work in research labs in their undergraduate careers and will meet a professor in their sophomore or junior year and stay with them through to graduation in that same lab, getting their names published on papers, doing important research, taking products to market, all sorts of stuff like that. Absolutely something that is not rare. It's absolutely commonplace for students to be involved in research in the college.
Awesome. And Michelle, so the PreHealth advising has has a very kind of broad reach throughout the university. I wonder if there are resources within PreHealth advising, or even just opportunities for students flat out to participate in research on the medical side of things.
Yeah, so absolutely. We have a lot of PreHealth students that pursue research at the medical campus or dental campus even, and our School of Public Health has become a very popular spot. But I think one of the great things about there not really being a major or any specific requirements, I like to refer to them as buckets. So you have buckets you need to fill, but you can put whatever you want into the bucket. So if you want to do research at the medical campus, you can, but if you're an engineering major and you're pre-health and you want to do an engineering related research project, that's totally fine. And we encourage you to do that. It's much more about how are you articulating what you're getting out of these experiences, and how do you kind of put your story together and explain in the admissions process why you chose to do all the things you did, and how they're helping you develop competencies that the schools are going to be looking for. But our students who are interested in science, sort of bench work, maybe more clinically oriented types of opportunities, you can certainly be doing research at the medical campus. A lot of our students really find those opportunities through networking. We also have the undergraduate research opportunities program that will list opportunities at the undergraduate campus and sometimes at the medical campus as well. And that's a great way to get involved in research if you want. But I echo Dan's sentiments about not getting too excited about that your first semester freshman year. There will be a lot of change in that time. So it's an important semester to kind of just build your network, meet some friends, and kind of get your bearings on campus before you dive into the research. But I think there are so many opportunities at Boston University for research. I really say any students that come to see me, if you want research, you can find it. It might take a little bit of effort. And I know academic advisors as well as advisors in our office and as well as the advisors in the career Center for Career Development are available to help students think about how do I go about having these conversations? How do I talk to a professor about my interest in working in the lab? How do I reach out via email? So there's a lot of support from people on campus that can help you think about how to go about doing that and how to find those opportunities.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. So now, Dan, I have a question for you about the engineering programs as they relate to the rest of the university. So with PreHealth, you sort of take that, one of the PreHealth tracks as a separate track, like along with your major. But is it possible for engineering students to double major or to minor given the demands of the program?
Absolutely. You can minor in any one of our majors is available as a minor to two engineers, as well as another couple of other specialized engineering minors. You can also double major in any of our majors. And then any minor that is available at Boston University is available to engineers for any Boston University student, right? You can minor in anything in any of the other colleges. We have students who are at the College of Fine Arts who have an engineering sciences minor. So there is really a lot of availability to also go out and do things outside of the college that, so minoring in economics or minoring in business or minoring in film at the College of Communications. And in fact, there is the dual degree program in which you can pursue a degree in the College of Engineering and a degree in the College of Arts, say the College of Arts and Sciences. So you could be a biomedical engineer with a dual degree in computer science from the College of Arts and Sciences. So there's real opportunity to go out and take advantage of the other programs while completing yours. Do they all fit super easy? I always say the answer to every question is yes, but. Can I do this? Yes, but do you come in with any AP credits, any advanced credits like APIB? Are you willing to maybe overload in a given semester? Are you willing to do some summer work to fit all these things in? It's absolutely possible. We have students who graduate from the College of Engineering with double majors and full degrees every single year. It's just about what makes sense for them. And sometimes people will start a double major and they'll actually back that double major down into a minor because they're like, you know what, I wanted some focus, but not that much focus.
Awesome. And I would also just kind of add on to that, the choice of majors can make a little bit of a difference. Like if you are, looking to do a dual degree program in engineering and like the Questrom School of Business, it might take you longer than 4 years. But again, like you said, no one's really going to tell you no about that. Like if that's your passion, like then that's the deal. It's really just going to be a matter of trying to streamline that. So the earlier the better. If you can, if you know that you want to major in these two fields, meeting with your advisors is going to be awesome to help you kind of put everything together in a pretty logical fashion. Also, if you're coming in with AP or IB or other advanced credits, that can help to free up room in your schedule for all these varying requirements as well. Another question here, again, specifically about engineering, but I do think this is worth opening up to both panelists. How collaborative are the programs at BU? I know that engineering has a collaborative project built directly into it. So Dan, I'm going to start with you if you could talk about just collaboration in the College of Engineering.
Absolutely. Yes, engineering is very collaborative. You are doing things like your senior design course, which is a 2-semester course that you do in your senior year, where you're working with other engineers and you get a client and create a product for that client over the course of the year, and you are working in teams. In your sophomore year, we have an intro to design course that all students take, in which you are working with people from other majors to again work with an outside client from outside of BU to make them a product. So we are we deeply believe in teamwork and in working in groups, in learning how it's going to be to work in the real world, which is you don't just go off into a room by yourself. You work with other people and figure out how to bring projects to completion with other people.
Awesome. And Michelle, are there opportunities within the PreHealth advising tracks for students to work collaboratively, whether in the classroom with each other or on outside research projects, internships, that sort of thing?
Yes. So another, like, just one of the many reasons I love the PreHealth track and not major or like any specific set of requirements are, like sort of back to that bucket analogy. So you can basically do whatever you want, and we encourage you to do whatever you want. So at BU, there's lots of, like Dan was saying, lots of room for collaboration. But the beauty of our pre-health students is that sometimes they're in engineering and sometimes they're in the Kilichan Honors College and they're doing their Keystone project that might be different from the engineering research that they're also doing. We have students in Sargent who will do their senior internships. We have students in the College of Arts and Sciences that will do their honors and their major research. All of this, I think, is very collaborative, interdisciplinary. We have students who are engineering and CAS and might be working together on a project, and I think that also speaks to the hub and like the cross college challenge. And I've seen some students in our SMED program currently who are taking advantage of that and are collaborating with students who are not in the SMED program in other schools and colleges across the campus to work on some of these really cool, mostly I would say local, at least at this point, sort of projects, and really helping to solve sort of like these real world issues and these real projects that they might be able to actually help our community doing. So I think BU in general, there's a lot of collaboration available, and it's available anywhere you can kind of find it. And we absolutely would encourage you to explore all of those things. And I think from the pre-health perspective, the advisors in our office are here to help you kind of talk through what are your interests. If you say that you are interested in working with children and maybe making prosthetics, then maybe you do want to team up with someone in engineering and work on something like that. And so basically the answer is yes. There's lots of opportunities, and the advisors in our office are really here to just help you explore what those interests are and then point you in the right direction about how you can take advantage of exploring those interests.
That's great. So we have basically about 2 minutes left for the presentation. So I'm gonna actually just kind of call a quick stop here to the Q&A. Thank you so much to Michelle and to Dan for your insights into the BU experience. I want to thank everybody for the questions that they've provided as well. I'm so sorry that we weren't able to get to everything. In particular, I'm a little bit disappointed in myself, I suppose, that we really didn't even mention the impact of like the COVID-19 pandemic on like the application process or the university going forward, or either of the departments that we were discussing here today. But I do want to just leave you with a couple of final thoughts here. So bear with me while I share my screen with you one more time. And first, we really, don't want to kind of let you go without just describing very briefly BU's financial aid offerings. Each year, the university makes available over $260 million in undergraduate funding. Our Affordable BU program guarantees to meet your full calculated need for all incoming freshman students. You fill out the FAFSA and the CSS profile. Whatever the kind of difference between what that number says is your contribution and the cost of attendance at the university, will meet 100% of that gap. That covers 91% of our total undergraduate funding. The other 9% is merit scholarships. We have a number of different ones available. I would definitely make sure to check out our website, bu.edu/admissions. It's a whole nice section there about first year merit scholarships. Merit scholarships for first-year students. They cover all 4 years. In any case, there's a lot of different targeted ones, but also a few that any student can be considered for. So definitely check that out. And also, if you want to follow us on social media, here's how. If you want more information about student life, email visit@bu. There's the email addresses for general admissions questions, I think usually geared toward domestic students, admissions@bu. IntAdmiss is our international admissions office. International students can email them as well. And then we have information here about other virtual events that we host. So hopefully you can join us for one of those. Once again, thank you so much to everyone for attending today. Do really appreciate it. Looks like my timing is perfect. With that, Zach is back on the scene. So I am gonna hand things right over to him, and thanks a lot, Zach.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing this information. And students and counselors, thank you for tuning in. When you close this window, a very quick 4-question survey will appear, so we do ask for your feedback. We encourage you to sign up for the additional panels that are running through this evening at strivescan.com/virtual/STEM. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day and be safe.